Hey, what's going on, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 mod career mode here with Fernando Alonso in his McLaren Renault for round number 15 at the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, we had a fantastic episode last time out at the Italian Grand Prix. If you did miss that, by the way, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Really awesome result, and from that, just like we did with the previous episode before that, the Belgian Grand Prix, we took momentum to Italy, and hopefully we can take momentum now from both Belgium and Italy into this one, which should be good. Singapore in real life has been a good one for McLaren, kind of like Monaco. We can lean on the chassis a bit more potentially, and obviously we've had the upgrade since the Belgian Grand Prix. That's helped us out in the drag department, which is a big issue in real life for McLaren, and so I think we can go well. But before we go into the unknown and see how we do, let's go to the starting grid and see how we did in qualifying. So this is how the starting grid then looks for the 2018 Singapore Grand Prix. Then obviously a really great place for Ferrari historically, and it is a fantastic one for them this time round with a front row lockout for Sebastian Vettel on pole position and his teammate Kimi Räikkönen in second. So the Ferraris looking strong as ever, and surprised that they're already locked out because Mercedes have looked very strong with their engine power in the last couple of episodes, but they are demoted to the second row then. Hamilton third place with Valtteri Bottas in fourth. That third row, which pretty much at this stage of the series is pretty much owned by the Red Bull team. Daniel Ricciardo in fifth place then with Max Verstappen in P6. Of Ricciardo once again getting the better of his Dutch teammate. Then Nico Hülkenberg in seventh place, ever consistent, and then there we are in eighth place then as Fernando Alonso doing a decent enough job. Renault having an upgrade for this weekend actually, so Carlos Sainz in P10 just behind Stoffel Van Dorn, so a checkerboard then for the Renault and McLaren team. So I suspect that might be a fight that will be going on the entire race long, and perhaps the rest of the season with Renault having an upgrade, as I said. P11 then Romain Grosjean and Sergio Perez surprisingly here at Singapore in P12. You'd think maybe Force India might struggle with the circuit being kind of leaning on the chassis, but Force India potentially doing quite well here as they're in a checkerboard with Haas with Magnussen P13 and Esteban Ocon P14. P15 then, probably the biggest surprise in the entire grid for me is Sergei Sorokin in P15 ahead of the Toro Rosso of Pierre Gasly, Brendan Hartley P17 and Charles Leclerc P18, but the Russian, doing a fantastic job there in a pretty much a dog of a car of the Williams. But Leclerc does better than his teammate once again in P18. Then Marcus Ericsson P19, and last but not least is surprise surprise Lance Stroll for the Singapore Grand Prix. So checkerboard with the Renaults then, looking pretty good. Quali was okay. I think we can get more out of the car, honestly, in the race with a good strategy potentially. Going to fill up with fuel, of course. Going to be a two-stop, I think, for most people with two sets of Ultra Soft tyres and one set of Super Softs. But off the back of the last episode, like I said, potentially, don't want to tempt fate, but could we be looking towards a late championship fight potentially with Vettel, Hamilton and Ricciardo? Let's see if we can add to that as we go to 5 red lights then for the Singapore Grand Prix. Wasting no time getting underway here for this episode, and it's a 4-wide moment between two Red Bull cars and the Renault of Hülkenberg and us down the inside. We have to back out of it though. Verstappen stays ahead. Hülkenberg and myself though have overtaken Ricciardo, I think that is, and now me and Hülkenberg are side by side. But the Renault having upgrades this weekend. The Works Renault now as a side by side with not only me but also Sainz is side by side with Daniel Ricciardo as Vettel leads, from then Kimi side by side with Hamilton, then Bottas close behind. We're still neck and neck with Hamilton. Sainz in there as well. There's contact. Oh my God, and we're around upside down, and spun round again, and that is potentially the biggest crash I have had in the F1 career mode on this game at all. Vanilla or mod career-wise. My God, we saw everything. Somehow, though, we're actually intact and the car did not completely get destroyed. The front wing is off, so we're going to have a tough old time now. But let's have a look then and get a breather and see what on earth went on there. You can see there, what a spectacular crash. That is insane. A shame that the camera angle there is so zoomed out, but literally a double flip almost. We literally get tangled with, I think Carlos Sainz offsets us. Then we do a bit of ping pong, wall ride for a second, then go upside down. Our car drags along the ground until we get flipped back around, only due to the Haas flipping us around. Otherwise, I probably would have been stuck upside down and the game would have had to reset me. But look at this now from a different angle. That contact is with Carlos Sainz's front wing then, and that offset me, jigged me to the right. I ping-ponged off Hülkenberg's side pod and then essentially hit the wall at such a weird angle to break my front wing that it scaled me up against the wall. And oh my God, look at that onboard from K-Mag. That is amazing, amazing onboard action from that Haas to see me go into the wall. And then this is Sainz, so confirmation here. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of contact from Sainz, and that tiny bit of contact, because we're going at such high speed, just offset the car, and then the ping-pong action with Hulkenberg's side pod just allow that entire thing to happen. But just, wow, just craziness in the actual way it happened, because now on board with Van Dorn. Look at this. Insane. And then that's how I flipped right back round, only to the Haas. The Haas was literally the sole reason the car flipped back round. Otherwise, like I said, I probably would have had to wait for the game to reset me, but we pushed very hard back into the pit lane then, just about almost make it in. I nearly crashed into the pit lane entry, but now lap 2, we're last place, no front wing. Ultra soft tire is going to be changed out for super softs, and now we've got a long time left in this Grand Prix now, where we've got the pace to maybe get back to order, but we're going to have to really push flat out. We might have, unfortunately, quite a few laps of just our lonely self just going round and round. Obviously, we'll cut later on to the action for you guys, but for me, I can tell you, but for me, until we catch a car, it was literally just lap after lap pushing flat out. But pretty much now, we've done the impossible, survived that quite spectacular, horrendous collision in a very Alonso-style fashion. We're going to have to make our way up and keep fighting and fighting like Alonso would, and let's see if we can pull off an Alonso result, i.e. getting a result out of nothing, because literally we're last. We're multiple seconds behind the next car, which is I think a Williams car. Meanwhile, Vettel leads from Lewis Hamilton in second place there, so 2 of the championship rivals, 1-2. Ricciardo, though, a bit further back, as Raikkonen is in P3, Bottas P4 then, and then you've got the 2 Red Bulls of Ricciardo and Verstappen near enough nose to tail there, so I don't know what's going on with the Red Bull cars. They seem to be lacking a little bit of pace at the moment, and so now here we are, cutting back to our POV all the way to lap number 9 to make that pass down the inside. You can see it's still not done there because I have to leave Stroll a bit of room, but yeah, it took us what is 7 laps of pushing flat out just to catch up to Stroll, who was also, I think he had to pit early as well, so I think he was caught up in that, because we go on then, and finally maybe starting to catch up to some cars after their first pit stop, up into P17 now, so that's the likes of Ocon and Ericsson, who might have got tangled up in some incidents, and there's Hulkenberg. Now, he did not have any collisions or anything like that. I'm assuming he was side by side with the Red Bull, but now he's behind the Red Bull cars and everything, but he is right ahead of us on lap 10 now, so we have almost caught up to where we were, maybe, after like 10 laps. I mean, I'm unsure, because remember, we're out of sync of the Grand Prix now. I have to go a lot longer on super softs, and pretty much now I'm committed to converting this to a super soft. No longer can I use 2 sets of ultras, whereas the AI might be doing that still, so I am a bit out of sync. So at the moment in time, I can't actually honestly say where I am in the Grand Prix, but all I know is that the top leaders now are going to make their first pit stop. But you saw there Bottas in a train behind a Toro Rosso car. That's because Bottas came in a lot earlier than his teammate in the 2 Ferrari cars, and actually Bottas ended up in the middle of this Grand Prix. For some reason, he had some sort of issue that I was hounding him, and just maybe due to traffic, he was held up. And so we're going to see Bottas very, very soon later on in this Grand Prix. But meanwhile, for the leaders, Vettel with a bit of front wing damage there as he tries to overtake the Force India car in traffic. Hamilton now has an opportunity to overtake his rival Vettel there as Raikkonen just comes out and slots ahead. So a good overcut there from the Iceman ahead of Hamilton, but Vettel with a damaged front wing. I think this could be a slam dunk move for Raikkonen to take the race lead, but at the moment it's Vettel from Raikkonen to Hamilton. Like I said, Bottas was in 4th place, but I think at the moment he's currently being stuck in a lot of traffic in the midfield with issues of his own in the car. And now here we go on to the next lap. It doesn't take too long for Raikkonen to try and make a move. It's 3 wide almost with Hamilton on the inside, but Raikkonen down the inside then for first place. Vettel tries to come back at him, but it's going to be no use. He has front wing damage, and so that's going to be Kimi up into first place of the Singapore Grand Prix eventually, with Hamilton soon also trying to overtake Vettel as they go into the long back straight. Obviously a slingshot effect, and then DRS is going to be there. Obviously you would assume rich mix as well for Hamilton, and so Hamilton down the inside of his championship rival, and he's going to be up into second place. But still, Ricciardo, the championship leader, nowhere to be seen, so this could be a good opportunity, even if Vettel finishes 3rd, for Hamilton and Vettel, 2nd and 3rd, to get some points, much needed points over the race leader, over the championship leader I should say, Daniel Ricciardo. But now we move back to our POV. We're in P13 at the moment, and that's big thanks to a lot of cars having issues, Bottas included, but more importantly at the moment it's a Toro Rosso car. I think Gasly or Hartley holding up this train. You can see there, Hartley I think it is, as Van Dorn goes around the outside of Hartley, and you've got the Haas of Grosjean and Hulkenberg now closed up behind, and I think they were going so slowly in this Grand Prix that they've held them up so much that now by lap 12, I think I'm back in the fight in the midfield here. I mean, we're at the point still, but we're definitely back in the fight. And I think Hulkenberg might have had issues because he's way down the order now in P12 when he was fighting for P6 and P7 with me. But we've overtaken Hulkenberg now, and you can clearly see Hartley going so slow. Grosjean's dived it down the outside and got him. And we tried to do that, but I kind of got overexcited and locked up there. But you can see how slow Hartley's going. Like, Van Dorn overtook Hartley into turn 1, and we look up ahead. I can't even see where Van Dorn is now. I can't even see that papaya orange car because Hartley's going so damn slow. So trying to overtake him, getting a bit of dirty air now in this Grand Prix. Obviously, like Monaco, it's difficult to pass around here, but trying to find some room, maybe down the inside. No, we have to go opposite lock and just catch the car, and thankfully didn't slam into the wall there as we got a lot of oversteer. And now finally out there hairpin, we can get a run. Rich Miss going. It's Renault v Honda power, and can we dive down the inside now of Brendan Hartley? We're going to go for it. It's a late dive. Hartley does leave the door open and locks up there on the front right tire, but he's definitely got some sort of mechanical issues because he's going so slow compared to the Toro Rosso that I know from a couple of episodes ago. And now you're about to see the issues with Valtteri Bottas. There you go. Gasly just overtook him. Van Dorn's just overtaken him. He's lost 2 positions, maybe 3 soon as we dive down the inside now of Grosjean as Grosjean gets penned in by Bottas. And now I want to try and overtake Valtteri if we can. But Bottas, big issues in this Grand Prix. He was P4, now he's down to P9, and he's been overtaken very easily by a Toro Rosso and my teammate there. So can we get him on lap 13? We're not even halfway through this Grand Prix, and we are, well, we could be back in the points. I can't tell for certain. Like I said, we're a bit out of sync, but we dive down the inside. Big lock up there in the hairpin to get the move done. Now we're in P9, and we can chase after our teammate Van Dorn. We just about get that done. Bottas was still technically side by side with us through that exit, but now, actually, I said try and chase after Van Dorn. Look at that. Literally in a span of one straight or half a straight. Look how much Gasly's holding up Van Dorn. Amazing. The Toro Rosso of Gasly also slow. So maybe both Toro Rossos just have a horrendous pace, but for some reason they've actually ended up ahead of everyone. I think they started on super softs, so they're out of sync of everyone, but they've got such horrendous pace that look at this. Within like half a lap, Gasly has held up Van Dorn by like a second or more, and we caught up to Van Dorn. And so through the last corner, Van Dorn off wide with issues there, maybe just a lot of dirty air trying to recompose himself, and we're down the inside of Van Dorn, and we've re-overtaken our teammate now after what was a horrendous crash. So you can see almost how, kind of like in 14 laps time, if the 2 Toro Rosso cars and Bottas were holding up the entire midfield and almost everyone down from P7 that badly for so long, it's no surprise how fast we've got back into potentially fighting our teammate for points. We'll see how it goes, because honestly I still don't understand where we are, because I'm a little confused, honestly, where everyone's going to reshuffle, because I've got to go onto super soft tires, whereas Van Dorn might go onto, well, actually, he's on ultra, so he might go onto super softs as well. But you can see there, Van Dorn did re-overtake me, because although I did overtake him very easily, it was pretty clear he only let me through on the last corner because he had issues from Gasly and dirty air and just recomposure, because he kind of completely caught me back up so fast. So I just let him through very easily, because there's no point fighting him, because, you know, he's not in my race basically. I'm trying to do a comeback drive. Van Dorn's got his own race to worry about, so I let him through pretty easily. But yeah, onto lap 18, onto another set of super soft tyres, and we're going to the end of the Grand Prix. We're at P14 now. Leclerc is in P13, and now is a fight to fight through these guys, because I think a few people ahead of us are yet to pit, but I just can't be certain, so we have to just try and push as hard as we can and try and overtake as many people as we can. You'd like to think, obviously, we'll have the pace to overtake the Sauber Alfa Romeo here of Leclerc, though, right ahead of us. We'll get DRS open. We're on low fuel, you can see on the bottom right, the yellow fuel icon. So we're using rich mix at the moment, but we're going to have to watch out for that, and I'm going to have to maybe tactically kind of go and lean for the entirety of Sector 2 and for most of 3, actually. Really, the only place we need rich mix, to be fair, is Sector 1 down this long straight. That's why I kind of said at the very beginning, it's kind of awkward, Singapore, because it's like Monaco in many ways, but then you've got this first sector where you do need some good straight line speed. And speaking about that, Ericsson, and Leclerc, sorry, I should say, around the outside of the Williams car. We are unable to overtake Charles straight away, but now down the inside of 2 cars, and we get a 2-for-1 overtake, but it's not done yet because Leclerc is still fighting back on us. And so just like the Spanish Grand Prix in real life, Leclerc doing a great job to try and fight and defend against Fernando Alonso, but we're going to eventually get it around the outside of Charles, down the inside now of this tight right-hander, and we'll get that up into P12. But you can see clearly, just like in real life, the Sauber has some pretty damn decent straight line speed there. We're actually found it tough to overtake him, but finally up into P12, and now a lot clean air to Carlos Sainz. But now we move later on to the Grand Prix and move on to focusing on Sebastian Vettel, and he already had issues with the front wing issue, but now he's going to park up there. You saw just in the bottom right corner, he retired, and as we move back to our POV with 10 laps to go, yellow flagged, and you're about to see Vettel's car. There you go, on the left, retired and parked up. So Vettel, it went from bad to worse. Obviously, I mentioned he needed to try and have a good race and be ahead of Ricciardo to gain back in the championship, and he's just gone with a DNF. So he's gonna lose a whole load of points. So just like in real life back in 2017, it's gone really a lot worse for Vettel at Singapore for the championship fight. So now we move on to lap 22 now, and we're up into P5. Sainz pits. So now we are in P5. Van Dorn, he was struggling on ultra soft tyres. Remember, he was on ultras. He's now onto his final stint of super softs, and we're ahead of him now. We've done an undercut, a massive undercut, and so now, quite surprisingly, we take this on to the end of the Grand Prix, I think. I think that's our job today, of taking it to the end. Meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas is also going to end in his race in tears, just like Sebastian Vettel. He parks up with a mechanical issue. We knew Bottas the entire race, though, had issues, because remember how slow he was earlier on in the video. So, no surprise he retires, but a really bad race then for Vettel and Bottas. But look at this. From having a stupendous upside-down crash on lap 1 to now lap 31, crossing the line in P5. That is successfully a Fernando Alonso-esque recovery drive in our McLaren. That is a brilliant race for us. It's not a great result in terms of points versus Ricciardo. We do get points over Vettel, but Hamilton got on the podium. But, I mean, for the race alone we had in terms of where we were lap 1, amazing. But I think, really, like I said, it's a combination of things. You're about to see on the race results the kind of second part. But the first part is, if you look back closer to lap 1, after I had the crash, with the front wing off, I went as fast as I could back to the pit lane, and as I entered the pits to make that front wing change, I wasn't actually too far off P19, so I didn't have that much time to catch back up. The more time I had to catch up was actually because it was more time. It was more of a case of catching back from P19 back to where I was to P7, but because I was so alone for so many laps, I had so much more clean air compared to everyone else, and then whilst I had clean air, the entire midfield had a tangle with the two Toro Rossos, and Bottas just going further and further. Because look at this, the full race results, obviously the podium is Raikkonen, Hamilton, Ricciardo, and then Verstappen, but then look at the huge gap from Verstappen to me in P5. Like, it's almost like Formula A and then Formula B, because after Verstappen, the entire grid was just held up so much by the two Toro Rosso cars, Bottas as well, and then held each other up with just traffic of Singapore, that it allowed me to make this recovery drive. And that coupled with the fact that, obviously, like I said, I wasn't actually too far off everyone when I came in for my pit stop, and I essentially made a one-stop race with two sets of super soft tyres because I pit on lap 2, so it was like I did a one-stop with two super softs, if you ignore the actual first pit stop on ultras. So yeah, a combination of things means we can do a miracle recovery drive there. And so in the championship, Ricciardo still leads the way by quite some way now to Vettel. You know, a fair few points there to Hamilton second place, Vettel third, but we're still there in P5, not too far off Kimi Raikkonen. So, you know, I mean, Ricciardo's looking pretty damn consistent, though. So at the moment, he's looking very good. This is exactly the performance that Ricciardo wants in real life, I gotta say, probably. That, you know, the consistency's there for Red Bull, unlike in real life, and he's leading the way. But in the Constructors' Championship, once again, good race for Red Bull. They catch up to Ferrari a bit more, but Ferrari also catch up to Hamilton, to Mercedes. I almost said Hamilton, because Hamilton's doing the heavy lifting for Mercedes this career mode series. But with Raikkonen winning that Grand Prix, Ferrari catch up there. So, like I said in the last episode, it's becoming a really nice scrap for the top 3 constructors there. But guys, if you enjoyed that episode, smash the like button. If not for anything, then just for that spectacular, amazing crash we had on lap 1. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Ava. Have a enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.